Okay, we have a limited audience today. Our topic is and we will focus on how to set the goal, how to do planning, how to prioritize schedule, and how to organize so that we could effectively manage our time. And beginning this effort, I had a chance to practice some of the skills when I was at IIT BHU between 64 to 68 in the joined on a 5-year program. There were 13 subjects and 9 months window, no semester system. So what I learned was how to manage the time and do sort of juggling multiple things, keeping everything going. And I would study one chapter at a time from each of the 13 subjects and make it a point to review everything before the final exams. And that helped me a lot. So how to do multiple multitasking, etc. Then when I joined AT&T Bell Labs, one of the courses I took was how to get things done. It was a one-day course. I took it somewhere around, I would say, 1984. That course has helped me a lot to how to manage the time effectively. So let me share the presentation. Uh, okay. So the things we'll be discussing are goal setting, prioritizing, planning, scheduling, organizing. We'll focus a little bit on how to manage the meetings well, how to do delegation, how to prioritize our time, decision making. One of the important thing is how to say no, how to handle interruptions, and how not to procrastinate, and how can we collaborate in the work setting. Now, there are a few interesting quotes on the time management. The first one talks about this time, like old times, is a very good one if we but know what to do with it. Next one always has time enough if one will apply it well. Third one by Maya Angelou talks about all great achievements require time. I like the fourth one. Start by doing what is necessary, then what is possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. Benjamin Franklin talks about never leave till tomorrow that which you can do today. The next one is the bad news is time flies. The good news is you are the pilot. Now, the funny one is I'm definitely going to take a course on time management just as soon as I can work it into my schedule. Last one, interesting quote. Time is free, but it is priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. And once you have lost it, you can never get back. So with that icebreaker, let's look at a couple of myths of the time management. People think that the time management is a very complex subject. In reality, the basic process has only 5 major steps: the goal setting, planning, prioritizing, scheduling, and organizing. Secondly, a lot of people think that the activity is good in itself. So the guidance is being busy, not the same as being effective or productive. If you are working or spending your time on low priority items, that's a waste of time. Now there is a 80-20 rule of time management, and that is the relationship between input and output is not balanced. So 20% of the person's effort will generate 80% of the person's results, as long as you are working on the important things. And 80% of your success comes from the 20% of your focused effort on working on the important things. So you really need to figure out what is important and spend and keep the focus on the important things. Now here are some examples of internal time wasters. So if I'm not disciplined enough, I'll be wasting time. If I cannot make a decision, then my time is wasted. If person is disorganized, then he or she cannot find the things when it's needed. There's a tendency to procrastinate. We'll do it sometimes later, not now. I believe everybody to a certain extent have the inability to say no. People who manage other people need to have a good delegation skills. And if you don't have that delegation skills, you'll be wasting your time. Sometimes people are there physically at workplace or wherever they are, but they are tuned out. They are daydreaming something else. And when you worry too much, your time is wasted on unnecessary things without your control. Here are some external time wasters in the work setting: interruptions, and especially mail and the email. And of course now the smartphones, so there's a constantly mail coming. Office socializing is another time waster. Third one is deadly: too many meetings, and we'll talk about how those meetings are effective or not. Occasionally you will get unscheduled visitors to come where you are working. The work environment, if it is not good, that could waste your time. When the goals are not very clear, then you could not focus on getting things done. Now when there is external dependency, you need to get help or cooperation from others. If that does not come, you are waiting for that input. And of course, the organizational bureaucratic red tape can waste your time away. That could be a few other items. So idea of these two slides is to be aware about what are some of the internal and external time wasters, and what should we be doing so that we don't waste our valuable time to accomplish the task at hand. A little bit about right brain and left brain. Right brain people have the ability to see options at every turn. For them, they can see a gray area, not black or the white completely. And for them, the time is polychromic. That means they can do many things simultaneously. Left-hand brain, generally engineers, and I'm an engineer, we see things as a black and white. And for us, the time is a monochromic order, and you do one thing and then go to the another, etc. Now, generally, the artist type are the right brain, logic or the left brain are the engineers mainly. So when I started out, I was a left brain. Over the years, I have changed some of the behavior and habits. So I'm almost at the balance in the center. Still more tendency for the left brain side. Now this is a very important slide for time management from Dr. Stephen Covey. What he's talking about it is that out of 4 quadrants, quadrant 2 is the most important, where you are working on important but not the urgent things. and there you should be spending between 90 to 95% of your time. Quadrant 1, urgent and important. There you need to spend only about 5 to 10% max, and those are the firefighting, and you need to get that thing out of the way. Quadrant 3, nothing is happening. Quadrant 4 is all socialization with no real output. So 3 and 4 should be avoided. 2, that's where you need to be 90 to 95% and take care of urgent for about 5 to 10%. Another good slide is how to set the goal for your time management. Remember, SMART is the guidance: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. So the key is to set and achieve the time management goals. You want to hit on the bullseye in the yellow in the graphics. Now, in terms of planning, one need to visualize the end result, see your goal. If you manage your time well, at the end of the day, you should be accomplishing task A, B, and C. Or at the end of the week, you will have finished a project which is due. Estimate the time required for overall project and break it down into pieces. So we are looking at the project management skills. You need to develop a schedule and periodically check your progress against your time estimates. Now, as we all know, estimation is a guessing game. Your estimates are never going to be 100% right, but you have to begin to make an estimate and keep refining it as you go. And you should always anticipate and allow for possible problems. And key here is to plan your work and then work your plan. Without the plan, you are not going to succeed. And as Dr. Deming from the Quality Discipline says, there is a plan, do, study, and act cycle, where 10% excellent planning and 90% flawless execution will give you the best results. In terms of prioritizing, take a look at inflow inbox for wherever you are. Certain things you can only do it, so that goes in the do bucket. Certain things, if you have people working for you, you can delegate it to them. That's how they grow. Third one, you have to do it, but you don't have time because you are working on an important topic right now. You put it on a yellow sticky paper saying I'll get back to it next week, and then definitely follow up on it. And then the last item is, lot of things are trivial that should be sent into a circular file to dump it. And this is how you can prioritize the inbox. And manage your prioritization. As we saw from Dr. Kavi's guidance, focus on important things first, address the urgent, get it out of the way, accomplish what you can early. That will give you confidence and allow you to tackle bigger and better things. And always attach deadlines to things you have delayed. Develop plans, annual, monthly, weekly, and ideal thing to do is daily checklist. And always remember, the important things should be at the top of the list. Don't put simple items on the top of the list, otherwise most of your time is gone addressing those trivial items which has no impact on your outcome. And always work on your top priorities first. Remember to focus on outcome, not just actions. Actions coupled with outcomes are the great way to manage and prioritize your time and work. In terms of scheduling, one need to be realistic and put the realistic deadline based on past experience, and use as many scheduling tools you have, and particularly with the smartphone, etc., you can keep everything at your fingertip. Now, allow adequate time for all stages of work. And as the work progresses, you need to do good reviews and revise the schedule as needed. In the check-in with your colleagues and client, and remember, you are in charge, not the schedule. You need to examine your schedule, be realistic about it. Don't take on too many things because we are not superhuman. And if we take on too many things and if we cannot address it, we set ourselves up for failure. And that's a no-no. One needs to find the creative or the thinking time and use it very wisely. And also on the flip side, find your dead time where you can schedule meetings, take the phone calls, and do mundane stuff so that your time is properly used. Now comes the meetings. Now this is one of the serious issue around the world, and in general, the meetings are not very productive and they are not effective, so time is wasted away. Other thing is, as you go higher up in the hierarchy of an organization, those top leaders spend enormous amount of time in meetings and meetings. And if those meetings are ineffective, then it's a huge loss to the organization because they're given large amount of money. And if they cannot use that time effectively, it negatively impacts the organization. So a few quick guidance. If you don't need the meeting, don't hold the meeting. If you can do without the meeting by writing an email or posting something on the internet, etc., to convey the message, do that first. So always question the need and frequency of meetings. Ask for agenda in advance and include the right participants, those who have enough knowledge and skills to invite them so that you can tackle the issue, and facilitate discussion and agreement to keep things moving with the help of a facilitator. Keep meetings brief. Schedule 30 minutes meetings. Keep the record of agenda, decision, designated follow-up, etc. Maximize collaboration between the meetings so that the action items are getting addressed. And there is a quick guidance. Use PAL system, purpose, agenda, and limit at the front end. And at the back end, you should have done excellent planning, have good participation from everybody in the meeting, and a follow-up with the meeting summary and action items. So PAL at the front end and PPF at the back end. Now the research shows that in order to hold a 1 hour of important meeting, the organizer or the planner of the meeting would on an average spend 10 hours. And that kind of effort is required to hold an effective meeting. Definitely avoid the time waster meetings. So one of the example I want to share is in my MBA class, I had a student from Honeywell. He said in the company there was a standing policy that if the agenda does not arrive 48 hours in advance, you are excused not to attend the meeting. In other words, if the meeting is important, agenda is much more important so that everybody knows what is the topic, what will be discussed, and what is their role in the meeting. And if you can solve the problem or reach the decision without calling the meeting, then don't arrange for a meeting. And always have a set ending time. And I'm sure you may have observed, and I have observed, that meetings start late. The decision makers arrive even later. You have to keep repeating things for them. And then at the end, you run out of time and you are planning another meeting to take care of the meeting which never got completed. That's a sad thing. And what it does is, at the end of the day, when you are wasting your time away in attending these meetings, which are not effective, your real work suffers. So either you stay late in the office or take a briefcase with you, and that affects the work-life balance. Consider telephone calls during the work hours as a telephone meetings. Keep the calls short, stand during the call, and treat the calls as a business meetings. And at the beginning of the call, announce the goals for the call. Don't relax and put your feet up, and then you have a tendency to chit chat and stay away from the real goal for the call, and keep something in view that you are going to go to the next event, and keep smiling. Your smile is contagious. It will be transmitted over the wire. In terms of organizing, always have up-to-date to-do list in the priority order. As we discuss, highest priority first, next level of priority to the next level of priority, and make sure that you are checking off once those items are done. Other quick guidance is always handle your paperwork and email once, and don't use it again and go through it again and again because it takes your time. You can use a stage filing method in which you have major topics, subtopics, sub-subtopics, etc. You need to use technology wisely in terms of your keeping your schedule, keeping in sync so that the schedule is kept at one place and is up to date. Uh, you want to manage your own professional reading, organize your workplace, and definitely use project management techniques and manage your calendar well. In terms of delegating, don't delegate if you can eliminate. So if you can dump it and doesn't need to be worked on, don't give trivial things to people who are working with you, and challenge them by giving them assignments which they can do it, or provide additional guidance so that they can complete it. This way you are free of doing many things, and the people who you have delegated to, they also appreciate the challenging work and they grow, and this is one way to grow your people. But remember to delegate appropriately, gradually and strategically. Provide all the support, and when good work comes back, give the credit. And whatever time you have invested is the going to have a future payoff because your people are getting more capable. Have a concrete goals, deadlines, and consequences, and have the macro management, not micromanagement. Don't tell them what to do. Just ask them this is the expectation and share your expectation. And your communication should be very clear. Get it in writing. Give objectives, not the procedures and steps. And also spell out the relative importance of this task vis-a-vis other works they are doing so that the proper time can be allocated for the work at hand. Now, this is a serious issue. All of us have a tendency not to say no. We are fully aware that we cannot take on this work, but we are unable to say no for whatever reason. So we need to start learning to say no, but do it politely, because we cannot do everything. We have limit 8 to 5, 9 to 5, etc. at work time, and you need to manage everything within that window. Do not undertake the things you cannot complete, and one needs to be really focused on the goals. Always remember, you are not a superhuman. We all have limits. Take time to think about it, be honest and vocal about why you cannot uh, help out at this point, and offer to defer or take turn next time, because every time if you keep saying no, that's extreme, then nobody will come to you, and you will probably have to leave the organization. And when in doubt, always discuss the workload with your supervisor and suggest an alternate approach. How do we handle the interruptions? When you are working on a crucial project with a deadline, make yourself inaccessible. I've seen either in a cubicle or in a closed door office, a person is working on an important thing. They will put out a note outside saying, please do not disturb me for this week. I am on a special assignment. Project is due by this Friday. And if you have anything you want from me, either drop me an email or come back next week and we'll talk about it. And you should be very polite but direct and offer the alternate time, as I mentioned, and always manage your self interruptions. This is one of the key problem. We ourselves create the self interruptions which comes in the way of productively doing any work. Now, how do you avoid procrastination? First line is very interesting. It says doing things at the last minute is much more expensive than just before the last minute. So when you do things in a emergency mode at the very last minute, chances are it will not happen completely and it will not be done well. Nobody works best under pressure. And second item, emergency on your part does not become urgency on someone else's part. Don't wait until last minute when you need somebody's help. Plan it ahead of time. Deadlines are critical and important, so you want to establish yourself and make it realistic. Uh, Now, in terms of things you have been avoiding, you make a list of it, prioritize them, and try to do at least one of them every day until you catch up and clean up your backlog. Next item is all about project management. Divide project into small schedulable stages. And the metaphor here is you want to eat an elephant. How do you eat an elephant? One chunk at a time. And of course, I'm vegetarian, so I don't eat elephant. Always ask for help and do it in a collaborative way in the work setting. Do not be a perfectionist because that is going to take away so you're always going to be procrastinating at the end. And when the work is done, reward yourself by taking a short break. Collaboration is very important, and this has to do with the effective teamwork we discussed in the prior module, because within the work setting, workplace, most of the work is done in the teams. So collaboration is always good because you can make good use of others' idea, and one should always ask for help when you need it, and you can borrow models and templates from other sources. Now this particular one, finding your prime time is important. Are you a morning person, evening person, or late night person? Now for me, generally I'm very good in the morning. Afternoons are not so great, and then evenings are generally fine, and late night I don't work on the work related things, but take it easy and either do some walking or watch some TV. So you need to find out what is your best time, so you are at the peak of your time and your results will be maximum during that window of time. How do you do multitask and how do you manage your downtime? So when you are on a public transportation or waiting at the doctor's office or waiting for the plane, or you are on a hold when you are early, always keep a small diary to jot down the thoughts, or keep a small book to read and pick up new things. Now we are just wrapping it up. To effectively manage our time, We need to think about how to set the goals. So remember SMART. How do we prioritize our time? It well. Learn. You cannot say no every time. Use your waiting time and complete it. Consider your personal prime time and celebrate your success. So, would like to give the special thanks to the leaders listed here and all the coordinators who have been supporting. Uh, and this is our third session. The next topic will be effective meeting management. Current projected date is 11th December. Probably within day or two, I will know. I may be traveling to Portugal, depending on how it works out. So we'll adjust the timing, and I'll get back. ASQ India contact CB James, Delhi office. And I had sent a day at the office case study. If you have not looked at it, kindly look at it. It's a very short case where a gentleman arrived early, he had something to finish, but he gets busy with many things, trivial things, and his real work doesn't get done. So out of 4 questions, you can think about what happened, whether the person used the time wisely or not. And at this point, I will go into Q&A using the chat box to manage the sound issue. So I'll stop sharing. So kindly type in your questions in the chat box and I'll take it as it comes. Dr. George, you need to go on a mute. And we have to use the chat box for the question. Kindly use the chat box to put your questions.
Professor?
I think you have to go on a mute, sir.
Yeah. Professor, I'm on my smartphone, so I'm not seeing the check the box where I can write.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead and yeah, go ahead.
I'll wait till others finish the question, and the last I'll ask my question. Is that fine?
No. You can ask your question now. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Professor, I hope all are listening. And the question I have, we find that Facebook, which is a media to exchange information and to socialize, how is it actually? What's your opinion? Is it actually a waste of time, or is it a very useful tool if used efficiently?
Right.
I find it is. According to me, I have been out of Facebook for the past 2 months. I don't use Facebook. So maybe you can give an opinion, and let's see, because that's a big issue for time management among the present day youngsters.
Okay, okay. All right. So I think you are bringing up a very important points, and particularly in India, I've observed everybody, practically everybody is on the Facebook. Youngsters are all there. So one needs to use the time wisely by managing the time. And personally, I can give you my example. I resisted going to the Facebook until the year 2011. I did need to download some pictures from a ceremony where I was part of the program. And then after joining, I found it's beneficial. One, I'm able to connect with many friends and family members all over India. So that was one benefit. Secondly, I use it as a digital library. So in the morning, I read some good articles and post them on my Facebook so others can benefit from that also. And I limit my time when I'm not productive. My dead times, I'm watching the Facebook and then send the information, post it, repost it, etc. So my guidance is you have to definitely manage your time, allow a little bit of time, not too much on it. And I also go through LinkedIn as appropriate. And of course, I have my own social media thing. So I am writing a blogs. I'm on Twitter, and recently I joined Instagram, and I'm enjoying all these social media, particularly to remain in touch with the reality and the rest of the world. So your point is extremely valid. Youngsters need to manage their time, study first. This should not be the priority. Priority is studies and develop good habit, how to manage the time. And when they do that, adding one or two additional items would work out best. I trust Dr. George that takes care of your item.
Fine, fine, fine. That's good. That's good. I just wanted to get your how do you manage your time regarding all this social media? Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. You can go on a mute.
Yes.
Now, Naresh Chawla from Punjab Technical University, Nalanda, question one. Ideally, how should we manage time of 24 hours to be successful? Yeah, I think what I would suggest is that you make a checklist for a daily task. What are the two or three important things you need to accomplish? You put that on the top of the list, and during the day, make sure that you are only working on the important things. And the moment you have finished one, take few minutes of break, recharge your battery, have a cup of coffee or tea, and then come back and tackle the next important things. Now, we all have 24 hours. Nobody has more than 24 hours, out of which 7 to 8 hours goes for sleep, time to eat, time to be socializing with the family members, etc. Workplace gets only about 8 hours, 9 hours. So you really want to focus during that workplace time that you are effectively addressing and accounting for all the time and don't waste that. That would be my suggestion. I feel that the quadrant 3 is not taken care of. Soon it will get shifted to quadrant 1. Okay, so what we are looking for is quadrant 3. There is nothing happening. It's not important, not urgent, so it should not be there. And quadrant 1, which is, and let me bring back just for clarity one more time. So quadrant 3 is not important, not urgent, and that's a waste of time. And the question was, if we don't do well on quadrant 3, it may become quadrant 1. I would tend to differ. Quadrant 1 is the firefighting and the crisis happening within the organization. And I've seen a lot of organizations, people are rewarded as a firefighters, right? And sometimes these are the same people who start the fire, then they come out with a fire hose saying that, okay, here we are trying to put the fire away. So quadrant 3 is totally useless. All the interruptions should be avoided. All the meetings which are not good should be cut down. And during the work time, you should not be wasting any time on quadrant 3 at all. Quadrant 4 is all the busy work with no real output. So for us, the real guidance from Dr. Stephen Covey is quadrant 2 most important, 90 to 95%, and somewhere between 5 to 10% quadrant 1, and that's about it. So that's how I would address that question. Okay, now we have RKDF Vice Chancellor. When you are at a multitasking position, one thing could be very important for one person, but other one wants you to do something at the same time. How do you manage it? How to say no? All right, this is a very interesting question. Now, when look at the situation, if you and the other person are at the same level, you need to be communicating with each other that the things you have prioritized is important for the organization and get the buy-in from the other person so that there is no interruptions and there is no conflict. Now, if the other person does not agree, you can go one level up and get a clarification. What is the most important thing between the two items which are coming up? So you really want to get that resolution so that there is no hard feeling. If you can talk it through at your own level, great. If not, go one step above and try to get a resolution that what is the most important item so it becomes priority 1. That's how I would do it if I was in that situation. Then how could we make it a constant, clear, and engaging? I think I'm missing something. Is it delegation? I'm reading delegation there. Is that correct? How could we make it a constant, clear, and engaging delegation? Yeah, so this is where if you have people working with you and you have to assess who has the capability and who could get that problem or issue solved. So you allow that person to tackle that issue by giving them clear guidance, timeline, what resources they can use, and general guidance, what is expected, and also set some review point in between so that you are not waiting until the last minute and unfortunately the person could not finish it and they have not come back to you. So that is the one way of sort of delegating your work to others, and this is where you are now expanding your capability. Your people are growing so they can take care of things which you don't have to attend to. And secondly, you can do limited amount of work as a person. But when you grow other people, now you have multiplied your ability to deliver good things. Any additional questions? This is one of the most important things I think we can all learn, and I feel so fortunate that I got to learn from the work setting right in the beginning at AT&T Bell Labs, and I liked the course so much. I told my department head. Okay, Dr. George, you have to go.
Professor, I have one more question. This session was really interesting and it was quite useful because most of us have problems in managing time.
Yes.
Yeah. And you have
Thank
also told that I have attended so many meetings,
you.
and one of the important points you have written here is attend a meeting if only there is a set agenda.
Yeah.
But is it possible, or like in an example, what you told, 48 hours advance notice of the agenda was
Mm.
circulated.
Mm.
Now, is it always possible to do? Because meetings usually happen at 2, 3, or maybe maximum 8 hours notice. It is very difficult to get a 48 hours notice and all. So,
Yeah.
what is and what should be done? Should we develop a? Is it a change of culture which is needed in the organization?
Yes. Yes. I think the question you are asking, you can go on a mute. Thank you. You can go on a mute.
Shall I go on mute?
Please go on a mute.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think this is a common issue within the organization. When you are not able to do good planning, you are always running at the last minute, try to arrange meetings in a hurry. Those meetings are not going to be successful. So the next topic we are going to pick up is the effective meeting management. And there is a very interesting book, so let me give you the preview of it. This called topic is Death by Meeting, written by a gentleman named Patrick Lencioni. And that book talks about that we don't know how to arrange the meetings. And he gives a very clear guidance that you need to have a variety of meetings in the organization. And I'll give you a quick preview. You need to have a 5 minutes quick huddle at the beginning of the day where people in the group or the department come together. It's a standing only meeting. You don't sit down, so you are not very comfortable. You just let each and every person know what is on your plate and what are the dependency among the people. So that is a daily routine, 5 minutes quick huddle, like in a sports setting. All the players and the coach work together to set a game plan. Second one, you have weekly meeting, generally going to be no more than 90 minutes. And that is where you take one critical topic for the week and discuss that topic in detail and come to some conclusion with your members within the group or the department. Third one, you arrange a monthly meeting, which is could be about up to 3 hours, where you work on some critical issues facing the organization, identify early on. And the fourth one is if you are in the top echelon, the C-suite, you want to arrange every quarter off-site meeting for a day or two where you are going to focus on critical issues affecting your customers, your people, your strategies, and any technological changes and any business condition which can impact your work and your organization. By isolating different types of meetings, you are effectively managing it and outcomes are going to help you. According to Patrick Lencioni, what we do is we create a hodgepodge. We throw everything into the meeting, one type of meeting only, and we are not accomplishing the task. And he is so bold enough, he says, in general, the meetings are boring, and secondly, they are not very productive. And both statements I have seen where a lot of time is wasted in the meetings with no real outcome. And it's a frustration because you have wasted your time, you have to use your personal time to take it home, and this thing is a never ending thing. It's a disease. I think we need to really tackle it. And second thing you brought up, Dr. George, was it's the change in the organization culture. A discipline is needed in order to deliver the great results. Things do not happen on its own, and when we are not disciplined, we are always running around, don't know what is required, and at the last minute we are in the panic mode. We come together, and the mindset is not good, so we cannot make good decisions, and that is going to hurt the organization. That's why instilling a discipline, and leadership is all about discipline, right? One has to discipline personally how to manage your time, and leaders should be managing their time well, 50% at a personal level. Then when they are disciplined enough, they will not waste others' time, and they will only involve people when the help is needed and bring people together. So that's how I would respond to it. Any additional questions, you can type it in from both locations, RKDF and Punjab Technical University. Seeing no further question, I'm going to stop the broadcast, and let's stay together for a couple of